Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. This week we bring in Chris. Hey Chris, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks.
Excellent. Chris, we're going to talk about your failure today on a product that's related to Amazon, but do you want to give people a little bit of background on yourself?
Yeah, my name's Chris Davey. I've lived in China for the last 6 years. I came here to work as a sourcing manager for a company, and for the last 2.5 years, I've been doing Amazon full time. I don't exactly just private label. I mainly design my own products. As you can, I've got like tools of my trade here, yeah, like all around me, yeah, verniers and rulers and stuff like that, yeah. So yeah, mainly CAD up my own designs and sell them online. So
Fantastic. So let's get straight into it. So let's talk about the product. Tell me about the product that failed for you.
okay, right. So we need to go right back to 2014 actually,
Okay.
which is when I'm still sitting on my desk at the old company that I work for, and I'm trying to come up with like. So I started listening to some podcasts, a few about Amazon. Actually, back then they were very rare, and I was like, yeah, I really need to get back into this Amazon because I used to sell in 2007. I was trying to come up with a product, and at this time, Amazon had just launched the Amazon Echo, and I looked at it and I sketched out this stand for the Amazon Echo. But this was back in like 2014, 2015 when it very first launched. Because I read a few of the reviews and people were saying, oh, it fell over easily. So I was thinking, oh, I could make a stand for this, yeah, and it's kind of like, should be pretty simple. And, you know, I drew it out very roughly in CAD, and then it just kind of sat on my computer, and I went off and I checked on Amazon, and there was like nobody selling anything at all like this. And then a few months later, checked again, still nobody selling anything. So I kind of forgot all about it for a while. And then I left that company and I was tidying my computer and I found the 3D data for what I'd drawn originally. And I thought, oh, I opened it. I was just tidying up, you know, like you do. And I thought I'd just check on Amazon again, and checked on there. There was like 3 people selling something similar, and they were doing about $50,000 a month.
Right.
So I was like, shit, why didn't I do that? Yeah, I really messed up here. Yeah. And then I still ummed and ahed about it because I started to like get some quotes on what I'd done, improve the design, done some 3D printing, stuff like that. Got better and better design for it. But by the time then I went back and looked, and it was like 20 people selling this type of product. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't do it. And then I was like, but mine's like really better than everyone else's. Mine's different to everyone else's. So I thought I'm still going to do it. So I bit the bullet, and we placed some tooling for this, some plastic molding and some metal part tooling. And that was costing around, from memory, around 10,000 US for that tooling. And we had a few problems. So we tooled it up, and the factory like couldn't get the quality of the finishing right.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of delayed us by about 3 months. We need to move the tool from one factory to another factory. And then eventually we got it right. And then I wanted this really nice packaging, and that took some time to develop. In the end, it took us like probably from going back to it to actually launching it took around 9 months or something like that. So I think it launched, I don't know, around in the sort of summer of, between the summer and autumn of 2016. And it basically hit in the US, and it didn't really do anything. I'd sent a lot of stock to the US. I'd sent like 500 pieces of each color. I did a couple of colors on it. And yeah, it didn't really do anything in the US, but luckily I'd sent some to the UK and Germany as well. And it really started to fly in Germany. And the reason was because in the US, it was on page 17 when it landed in the US. And in the Germany, it was like position 6 on page 1 from day 1, because there just wasn't anyone selling this. I don't know if you know, but Amazon Echo wasn't launched in UK and Germany when it came out in the US. So it was like 2 years later, Amazon launched it. So it only just come out in the UK and Germany. So everything was going quite well. It was not selling very fast in the US, but it was getting some traction over a few months. It got to page 1, and then it started to move. And then it had always been selling well in Germany, been doing like 30 a day or something like that, and maybe 10 or 15 a day in the UK. And then suddenly I was just like checking my metrics one day, and suddenly noticed, what's going on? It says like everyone I sell, I'm losing $4. So I thought, that's very strange. I need to investigate this more. So then I start to investigate, and bear in mind, actually, this product I had problems with all the time. Actually, with Amazon, I couldn't do PPC on it. Amazon didn't allow you to do PPC on it because it was Amazon related product. So that's something you need to be wary of. But what I found out is that Amazon related products have a 45% referral fee. So rather than the normal 15% referral fee, they charge 45% referral fee, which basically completely wiped out any margin. And, it made it where I needed to put the price up to such a high level to make any money back on it that it was like, started to get negative reviews, people complaining, this is not worth $30 or whatever, it's like, and I totally agree with him. It wasn't worth $30. I never planned to sell it for that much. So
let's just backtrack. So we kind of covered why you selected the product. It sounded ideal. It's Amazon related. There's obviously with them launching a product and then behind it doing a stand, as long as you could get the design work right, which you seem to obviously did. You obviously got to a point where people did like it as a product. Then you launched it into 3 separate marketplaces, which is good because what you've done is that if you've just done it in the US, the chances are you may have just gave up on it. Because you've done 3, you see it take off, and then you see to where to optimize it in the first marketplace, which ended up being the 3rd bestseller, which is the US. So let's quickly talk about that a moment. So did you do any giveaways or anything like that, or was you just using PPC to get visibility and then start to generate sales from that?
I did try to do some giveaways in the US, but I didn't really. It was around the time that all the rules changed and stuff like that, so everything was a bit up in the air about giveaways. So I kind of like just sat back. My PPC was working originally. And then suddenly Amazon reclassified the product as an Amazon accessory, and suddenly all my PPC stopped working. Yeah. So I couldn't do PPC, and I didn't do a giveaway. And at that time, I was not like savvy enough to know about trying to do like Facebook stuff and things like that. So.
And how much time did you invest? Obviously, at the beginning, because it goes back to what convinced you it was the winner. You designed it, you put it on the shelf, you kept checking it, and then you suddenly start seeing people in the marketplace doing 50,000 units. But you end up on page 17. That's where I got confused, is where the product didn't exist. Then a few people come into the game, but then suddenly you was on page 17. How did you only land on page 17, but page 1 in Germany? Was there 17 pages worth of these products now?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Right.
Literally in the US, because it had taken us, it was probably a year when I first saw the first people selling it. There was like 2 or 3 people selling something. Yeah. And then another 3 months later before I actually decided to do anything about it. And then because of the problems with the factory and stuff, it ended up being about 9 months before we got the stock in. So it was basically a whole year passed between like when we saw the first one hit Amazon and when we actually got a product on the shelf. Yeah. So in that period, everyone had gone crazy because they'd seen it was a top seller. The guy selling it originally was like selling it for $40 or something like that. And by the time we got to market, that one was like $13.99 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so we've kind of discovered one of the key metrics of where it went wrong was which you weren't to know, is about the changes in the fact that it's an Amazon related product. So that killed you on the PPC front. So that done away with visibility unless you was grandfathered in, like in some of the other marketplaces, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The second thing, talk to me again about this 45% referral fee.
Yeah, to tell the truth, I had read about it before a long time ago, and I kind of chose to ignore it. I
Yeah.
checked some of my competitors, like on Jungle Scout and stuff like that, yeah, and it didn't seem like it was showing that they were being charged that fee.
Yeah.
And even for the first like 6 to 9 months when my product was live, I wasn't being charged that fee.
Yeah.
It started in Germany that I was being charged that fee. And then a couple of months later, suddenly my US products were reclassified, and then eventually my UK products were reclassified. So
Yeah.
it basically made it a bit of a disaster, basically.
So how much in terms of monetary investment and time investment, let's break those into two. What was the investment there?
Yeah, I mean, time's a little bit difficult because I was working on lots of things at the time, but we probably put, a good
Okay, in mind space, yeah, 6 months.
Yeah. We probably put a good 6 months of time and effort into it. We designed nice packaging and stuff like that, and manuals and all of these different things, bits and pieces. So it took time. So
And hard cash?
hard cash. In the end, we ended up like throwing away about 30K's worth of stock.
Right.
But if you look at it on paper, it kind of come back to about break even. Like all the profit that we'd made kind of equaled what we'd lost. So
yeah,
we ended up not losing anything, but we ended up like throwing away a lot of stuff where we reused the packaging for another product. But
right, gotcha. But then, I mean, at least you come out. No one wants to keep learning lesson after lesson, but it's not like you lost 30 grand. You come out even after because of the margins you had from the other marketplaces. So imagine if you just launched in the US and skipped the other two. That could have been a different picture, couldn't it? I know you wouldn't have ordered as much stock, but
that's why often I've told people, like, don't just launch in one country. Yeah. What might be a disaster in the US could be a superstar in Germany.
So to summarize the 5 lessons learned is that Amazon related products must check for extreme level commissions. Then if it's relevant in terms of accessibility to PPC, I think things like sex toys and jewelry and things like that, I'm not in those categories. I don't think you can do PPC on them. So you need to make sure that you check them up front. The other thing is as well is that I would imagine with the Echo, like most products, they go through revisions over time. So new versions come out. So that's another thing, like with mobile devices.
Yeah. That was the third nail in the coffin, actually. So then Amazon suddenly brought out a new version where they changed the design slightly, and our product didn't actually fit it anymore. So then our sales just dropped down to like 1 a day or something like that. Yeah, and we had, I don't know, we probably had 3,000 or 4,000 pieces in stock. So at that rate, it was just like not going anywhere. We just decided to kill it off. And I was a bit slow, to tell the truth. The lesson I could have learned there from my friend was like, oh, you should have tried and liquidated it as soon as you knew this. Yeah. Because like you might have got it into a liquidation store or something like that. But anyway, that's a lesson learned, I guess.
But to move forward, so we learned from the failures there, there's 30 grand in 6 months of time, come out just about even, learn about the product. I'm sure that other products you do, because you're using tooling and CAD and stuff, there's a good system there that for future products, like you mentioned earlier on in the show, that you design your own products. So, I mean, that's normally the step up from most people rebadging products, isn't it? And making new box sets, etc. So what's your 3 main metrics for selecting a product moving forward?
Okay, so at the moment I've got like 2 brands that I've built up. So one of them brands I've just been expanding it by bringing out new variations, and that seems to be working really good. Seems like I found a good niche there that was kind of come across by accident. Like again, it was like nobody was selling anything similar, almost. And I just went in there and started making a new product, if you like.
Yeah.
One of my, it's not a metric, but one of the things I like to look at is, look at what's selling at the moment. And maybe there's 10 products that are selling for like $10. And when I look at the market, I think, okay, I can see there's 10 products selling for $10, but I really think that a customer might be willing to pay for like a deluxe version or a luxury version of something similar. Yeah, and they might be able to, they might be willing to pay $30 or $40.
Really?
And to make the product like that much different. It's probably only going to cost $1 or $2.
Right.
You know, so one of the things I look is like, can this market support a higher priced version? You know, I'll give you a good example here, which is I'm living in China. I wanted to buy a phone case for my phone. So I looked on Taobao, which is like eBay in China. And I find 2 phone cases on there. One's £2, one's £8. My brain automatically says, well, the £8 one must be better. So I ordered that £8 one. But while I'm ordering the £8 one, I thought, I might as well order the £2 one as well, yeah? Because it's only £2 at the end of the day. When they came, actually, the £2 one was much better than the £8 one. But in my brain, I nearly only ordered the £8 one. Because I was thinking it must be 4 times better. Yeah. So I'm sure I'm not the only person that thinks like that, yeah? And people automatically assume that things that are more expensive are better.
I mean,
I try to make them better, to tell the truth. So
yeah, no, totally. I mean, I struggle with that concept. You know, like you said, between £10, like if everything's £10, you sell one for 40. I find that, you know, there's difference between Microsoft and Apple. You know, is that what the difference that you'd maybe pay in terms of hardware machines, right? So there is a massive paradigm shift in terms of pricing. I found that when I look at a market, and I can be wrong, of course, and this is just my own perception of it, is that markets will only suffer so much. So you might have something, imagine everyone doing it for £10, but yours is £20. I look at it as, well, if it's £20, that's double the local guys. So is that just an extreme pricing by someone? Because again, it's a mindset, isn't it? And like, if it was 15, I might pay 15 because everyone else is 10. So that's premium. So that's a more deluxe. I don't mind paying X amount percentage higher than that to get a higher quality one. Does that make sense? I find it that stretch. Like, it's different if you said, like, let's just say you were doing a 3-pack of something for $10.99, but then you've done a 10-pack. I can understand how you can price that at 30 or 40. Does that make sense? There's more items in there. But when it's the exact same thing, but it's just a nicer version, that's where I struggle. It's interesting. If you've made that work, that's amazing. That's great. But I've struggled personally to make that work. You know, I normally I
understand. Let's take some examples of things I've got on my desk here, right? So I've just picked up a mouse. Yeah. So a mouse. This is a plastic mouse. Yeah, and it sells for $10. Yeah. Yeah. Now, if I bought a metal version of this mouse, it would seem much more premium because it's a metal version. Yeah. And then you could get it justified to sell it for 40.
Right. Okay.
So this is the kind of thing I'm doing. Yeah. I'm not just taking a plastic one and painting it silver. Yeah. And hoping to get $40 for it. Yeah. Yeah. I'd be making it, you know, a much more luxury, much more appealing item. Yeah.
So it could be cordless or, you know, self-charge, you know, not that they can, but, you know, it could be a cordless, self-charge, Bluetooth, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just try to add something there that will give the customer the feel that they're getting value for money. Yeah. It's not just about.
And have you managed to achieve that same set of results across most of your products, that you would look at the average market price is $10 to $15, but you could sell it for 30, 40?
I've got
designs.
I've actually got 2 different things going on, right? So as I said earlier, I've got 2 brands.
Yeah.
So one brand, I'm playing that strategy. So the strategy is like everyone else is selling for like £10 or £15, and my products range from £30 to £50. Yeah. For that, you know, the functionality is pretty much the same. Yeah. And then in my other brand, I've got the opposite. Everyone's selling for like £50, and I'm selling for £20. Right. Yeah, okay. I'm coming in there and selling a budget version that nobody else is doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So ghetto and premium versions across 2 different brands.
Yeah. It's like 2 exact opposite strategies. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one was almost by accident. Yeah. I just found a product at a show, and then like based the whole brand around that. Yeah. And then when I was selling that product I found at the show, I realized the reason mine was selling really well is from the reviews, you know, it's because like people were saying this was the cheapest one that I could find. Yeah. Doesn't look as nice as the other ones, but serves the same function.
Cool.
So since then I've been playing along on following that route.
Yeah.
So with that brand.
Makes sense. So finally, what one piece of advice would you give to our viewers and listeners?
for me anyway, it's like, don't just follow everyone else. I see so many people out there just following
Me Too
everyone
products.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm in a WeChat group now, and it's called like UK reviews or something like that. Yeah, and it's full of Chinese sellers looking for people to review their products. And when I look on there, I'm seeing the same things. I'm seeing like whiskey ice balls, silicone oven gloves. It's like all the things from like the last 2 or 3 years that have been popular. Yeah, I'm like, you Chinese guys not think of anything new to do? It's like, I think they're watching ASM or something like that. Yeah, they're just watching it now, like 3 years or 4 years later.
Oh, well, we won't name him, but we know someone that over in China who's part of like building an army of Amazon sellers, and we know that they utilize or bought a software company, and all the products all the giveaway stuff in there is basically, the word was, if you want to know about what's going on in the US and those kind of marketplaces, then don't have to do market research. Just sign up for this software, look at what everyone else is giving away and do that. That's your market research. You don't have to be westernized that way. Which I thought was quite clever, which leads to the Me Too product. And this is what I think is what people don't realize is certain software companies out there that are owned by Chinese companies that has that facility for doing giveaways. And it's basically, it's like, okay, all these people are giving away this stuff. We can produce that for a lot less. Let's jump on their listings or create our own listings.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, one of the things I'm actually doing now, I really shouldn't give these secrets away. This is a little bit proven. It's something that I've been doing recently, which is I've been using Taobao a lot to find some new products.
Yeah.
And Taobao's like I said earlier, Chinese eBay. And really, I just started this by almost accident. I use Taobao a lot myself to get things delivered from my house and stuff like that. And I just stumbled across some stuff on there, it's like, and check Amazon. It's like $20 product, and like check Taobao, like £1, But my only worry with this is it's very quick for people to come along and copy me if they find it as well, and then the Chinese will just come along and undercut me. But I can have some fun and make a little bit more margin on a few off the shelf things as well.
In the meantime, Cool. All right, Chris, great to have you on today. What's the best way people can reach you if they want to reach out?
Yeah, they can reach me on chris@fba4u.com. That's my email address. They can reach me on WeChat, which is Chris_Juhai. In fact, all my contact details are on my website, which is fba4u.com.
Excellent.
That's about it.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today, Chris. Thanks for coming in. We'll get you in the future. Take care, and we'll see you again soon.